Hello everyone, welcome to Career Launcher, and today we are going to talk about IIM Kozhikode BMS AT exam. And as we have already seen the sample paper of AT, and they have given previous year CAT questions, and we have seen the variety of those questions. So according to that, we have brought some questions for you. So stay in touch. So let's solve few questions. And what does these questions say? Okay. So basically, what is this question? It says that average weight of a class in a class, it increases by 0.6 kgs, right? When some new students join the class, the average weight of the new students is 3 kg more than the average weight of the original students. Then what is the ratio of the original students to the new students? Okay. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So how we are going to solve this question without calculating much? So basically, I'm just simply going to take that if nothing is given, you can assume a value. What I'm going to do, I am going to assume that initial average weight is 0. If you want, you can assume 100, you can take 20, you can take 40, whichever value is fine, you can take it. Fine. Now, the average weight of the new students is what? Is 3, right? Okay. Now, average weight of the class increases by 0.6. So, final average weight of the class becomes 0.6. Okay. I'm going to use allegation in these kind of questions. So, what is this difference comes out to be 2.4. What is this difference comes out to be? That is 0.6. So, what is the ratio of older students to the newer students? That is going to be 4:1. We can directly get the answer by using allegation in a single line. You don't have to spend a lot of time in these kind of questions. You don't have to make equations. You can directly, if you understand allegation, you can get the answer of these questions in 30 seconds. And don't get stuck with the values like x minus 2, x minus 3, because in that case, again, you can solve, but by if you look at the numbers are easier to understand as compared to the variables. So in these kind of questions where everything is difference and the final answer is in ratio, so I would definitely go by allegation instead of using any specific formula or considering some variables. Okay. Now let's start this one. What does it says? It says that Ramesh and Gautam are among 22 students who write an exam. Ramesh scores 82.5. The average of 21 students other than Gautam is 62. The average score of all 22 students is one more than the average score of 21 students other than Ramesh. Okay. Okay. So what question is saying? There are total of 22 people. Okay. Now question is actually talking about the actual number, that is what is the score of Gautam, right? So in this case, I can't assume anything. Right? So what I'm going to do? So I am going to take, there are 20 students. Okay. Then comes Ramesh. Ramesh is scoring 82.5. Then comes Gautam. Gautam, let's say Gautam scores X. Okay. What is the total score? Let's say T of 20 people. Okay. Now, so till this point, I have written everything. Now, what does it say? Average score of 21 students other than Gautam. So, what is the total of 21 students other than Gautam is T plus 82.5 divided by 21, and that's equal to what? 62. We got it. Okay. So, it is going to be T plus 82.5, and that's equal to 62 into 21. I'm not going to solve any equation. I'm just going to keep everything as it is. I'll solve later on. Okay. Now, what does it say? Average score of all 22 students. So, average score of all 22 students, that is T plus 82.5 plus X divided by 22. that's the average score of all 22 students, is 1 more than the average of 21 students other than Ramesh. So if I remove Ramesh, then total becomes this and divide by 22, and that is the total score. Now my job is to solve the equation and get the answer. Okay. So what I'm going to say that t plus 82.5 is 62 into 21. So 62 into 21 plus x upon 22 is equal to, total is equal to 62 into 21 minus 82.5 plus x upon 22, and now we can solve the whole equation. So I'm just cross multiplying. So what I'm going to get, I'm going to get 82 into 21 into 21 plus 21x, just multiply this to this side, that is equal to 62 into 21 into 22 minus 22 times 82.5 plus 22x. Subtract, so this becomes x. Okay. Now send every value to this side. What I'm going to get? I'm going to get 62 into 21 into 21 minus 62 into 21 into 22 plus 22 into 82.5. Okay, and that is equal to x. Okay. Now what is going to happen? 62 into 21, I'm going to take this value is common. So 62 into 21. 21 minus 22 will give you minus 1. Now I'm going to multiply this. So how I'm going to multiply it quickly? So 82.5 into 2 is going to be 165 into 11, and that is equal to x. 21 into 2 is 42. 42 is over 4. 21 into 6 is going to be 126 plus 4 is going to be 130, and that is negative. And now I have to multiply this. 11 5s are 55, carry over 5. 11 6 are 66 plus 5 71. Carry over 7. Now 11 ones are this, and that comes out to be 1 8. Okay, so I think there is something that is missing. It is going to be 18, and that is equal to x. Okay, so there is some problem with the calculation. So x is, I'm getting a huge value of x, and that's not possible. Okay, so somewhere there is some mistake. So let's see. So t plus 82.5. So average score of other than Gotham is 62. So t plus 82.5 divided by 22 is equal to 61. 62. Okay, so t plus 82. Okay, fair point. Total score 22. So 22 times. So t 21 into 62 into 21 plus 21x is equal to 22. Okay, and that is plus 62 into 21 plus 21x is equal to 62 into 21 minus 82.5 into 22 plus 22x. So 62 into 21 into 21. Solution seems right. Something, I think I am missing out on something, and that is equal to x. So 62 into give me a moment. So that's the mistake I have made. The mistake I have made is that this average is 1 more than this average. So it is going to be plus 1, right? Now when you take LCM, so it is also going to be plus 21 into 22. So this is the mistake I have been making. So it is going to be minus 21 into 22. So it is going to be what? 22 ones are 2, 22, 22s are 44 plus 2, 46. Okay. Now I'm going to write the answer. So it is this minus this is going to be what? 613, uh, sorry, 513 minus 462, and that's equal to x. So x comes out to be 51. That's going to be option A. So basically, we can definitely get the answer, and this is definitely a lengthy question and difficult one. More likely, I am going to avoid this question in the exam. Now, let's look at this one. Anil alone can do a job in 20 days, while Sunil alone can do the job in 40 days. Anil starts the job. After 3 days, Sunil joins him. Again, after a few more days, Bimal joins them and they together finish the job. In how many days the work is done? Okay. Anil alone can do in 20 days. Sunil alone can do in 40 days. So basically, I am going to assume the work that is LCM of 20 and 40. So I am assuming total work is 40. Anil finishes 40 units in 20 days. So Anil does 2 units every day. And Sunil is finishing 40 units in 40 days. So Sunil is doing 1 unit per day. Anil starts the job. Okay. So what I'm going to do? Anil starts the job. Let's say job finishes in T days. So Anil starts the job. So Anil is doing 2 units and Anil is working for T days from start to end, right? So how much work Anil is going to do? 2 into T. Efficiency of Anil is 2. He is working for T days, so total work he's going to do is 2T. Okay. Then Sunil joins him after 3 days. Okay. So Sunil must be working for how many days? T minus 3. Okay. So Sunil is working for T minus 3 days. Efficiency of Sunil is 1. So total work done by Sunil is going to be 1 into T minus 3. After a few more days, Vimal joins him and together they finish the job. Vimal does 10% of the job. So 10% of 40 is going to be 4 units. That is going to be done by Vimal. And that is equal to how many units we are talking about? We are talking about 40 units. Okay. Okay. So 2T plus T is going to be 3T plus 1 is equal to 40. So 3T comes out to be what? 39. So T comes out to be what? 13. So in how many days work is going to be completed? That's going to be 13 days, and that's our option D. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. So what does this says? It says point A, P, and Q and B lie in the same line. Fair point. So all of these lie in the same line, 100, 200, 300 kilometers away from A. Okay. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do, write it like this. So this is A, this is P, this is Q, and this is B. Now A to B distance is 100, A to Q distance is 200, A to B distance is what? 300. So I can say A, P, Q, B are equidistant. So A to B 100, P to Q 100, Q to B 100. Okay. Now car 1 and 2 leaves from A at the same time and move towards B. Simultaneously, car C leaves B and moves towards A. Car 3 meets car 1 at Q. Okay. Car C meets car Q at car 1 at Q. Okay. So when A and B, car 1 and car 2 are moving like this, car 3 is moving like this. Car 1 meets car 3 at this point. So in that time, how much distance is traveled by car 1? 200. In the same time, how much distance traveled by car 3? That is 100. So what is the ratio of speed of A to C? That is 2:1. Right? Now what does it say? It says that and it meets car 2 at car P. Okay. So basically, car 2 is going to cover a distance of 100. So basically, it is A to C. Why I'm writing A to C? That is car 1 to car 3. Okay. Now car 2 is traveling how many meters? 100 kilometers. In the same time, how much car 3 is traveling? That is 200 kilometers, because they are meeting at P. So car 2 is reaching covering 100 kilometers. Car 3 is covering 200 kilometers. So ratio of speed of 2 is to 3 is going to be 1 is to 2. Okay. So is when car 3 is 2, then car 2 is what? 1. Okay. And when car 3 is 2, what is car 1? That is going to be 4, because car 1 is twice of car 3. So basically, ratio of speed comes out to be 1 is to 2 is going to be 4 is to 1. Now, question is talking about ratio of speed of 2 to 1. That is going to be 1 is to 4. And we can directly get the answer without making a lot of equations. And by using logic, we can get the answer very quickly. Always remember, when time is constant, speed is directly proportional to distance. When distance is constant, speed is inversely proportional to time. So we can get these answers very easily. Now let's move to this one. What does it says? Motorbike leaves what? Leaves point A at 1 and move towards B at a uniform speed. Okay. The car leaves point B at 2 and move towards point A at a uniform speed, and which is double the speed of motorbike. Okay. So basically, I have this as point A, this is point B. Okay. It leaves at 1 with a speed of, let's say, x. This leaves at 2, let's say, with a speed of 2x. Okay. They meet at 340. Okay. So they meet at 340. Okay. So it means which is 168 kilometers from A. Okay. This point is, let's say, point P. So basically, what is the distance between these two? Okay. Okay. So basically, 340. So this motorbike starts at 1. This motorbike reaches point P at 340. So it is traveling for 2 hour 40 minutes, right? 2 hour 40 minutes. Or I can say 2 by 3 hours. Or I can say 8 by 3 hours. So motorbike is traveling for 8 by 3 hours, right? So 8 by 3 hours, in 8 by 3 hours, how much distance it is going to cover? It is going to be going to cover 168. So what is the speed of this motorbike? That is distance upon speed, 8 into 3. So this is going to be 21. This is going to be what? So total speed of this motorbike comes out to be 66. So what is the speed of the car? That is 132, twice of that, right? Now it is traveling for how many hours? That is 1 hour 40 minutes, or 1 hour 40 minutes can be said as 5 by 3 hours. So what is the distance traveled? That is 132 into 5 by 3 hours. So this is going to be what? 44 into 5 is going to be 220. So this distance comes out to be 220. This distance comes out to be 168. So total distance comes out to be 388, and that's going to be our answer, and that is option D. So it was a fairly easy question. Just read the question. You are easily going to get the answer. Not much calculation in this one. Just conversion of minutes into hours is the thing. Otherwise, everything that is given is pretty much straightforward. Now, let's move to this one. Okay. The salary of Ramesh, Ganesh, and Rajesh were in the ratio of 6 is to 5 is to 7 in 210. And in 2015, the ratio was 3 is to 4 is to 3. Fair point. Okay. If Ramesh's salary increased by 25%, then what is the percentage in Rajesh's salary during this period is closest? Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go with, in year 2010, the salary of Ramesh, Ganesh, and Rajesh. I am assuming their salaries are 600, 500, and 700. Okay. From 200 to 215, Ramesh's salary increases by 25%. So 25% means what? 150. So what is going to be Ramesh's salary? 25% is one fourth. One fourth of 600 is 150. So what is the salary of Ramesh in 2015? That is 750. Okay. Now, what is the percentage increase in Rajesh's salary? So I'm not bothered about Ganesh itself. In 2015, the ratio of salary of Ramesh and Rajesh was 3:3, means 1:1. So Rajesh's salary is also going to be 750. So in 2010, the salary of Rajesh was 700. Now it is what? 750. What is the increase? 700 out of how much? 700 into 100. So we got the percentage increase that is equal to closest to 7%. So answer of this question is going to be option A, because you accurate value we are not taking, because the question itself is asking what is the value that is closest to. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it say? From an interior point of equilateral triangle, perpendiculars are drawn. Okay. On three sides, sum of the lengths of three perpendiculars is S. The area of the triangle is what? Okay. So now sum is given and we need to find out the area. Okay. Now it is going to be a tricky one. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this case? There is one point in equilateral triangle. Now there are multiple ways you can solve it. One point, and the question is talking about what is the area. So one thing you can assume that that point is centroid itself, right? Then you can calculate. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume that that point is vertex itself. So if side of this triangle is A, okay, so so before solving this question, I'm going to do a couple of things. Side is A, then height of equilateral triangle is given as root 3 by 2 times A. Root 3 by 2 times side. So I can say side is equal to 2h upon root 3. Okay. Okay. So I am assuming that length of the perpendicular is whatever it is. Okay. So I am assuming that this is the point from which I am drawing the perpendiculars. Okay. So from this point to this line, what is the length of perpendicular? 0. This point to this line, what is the length of perpendicular? That is 0. This point to this line, what is the length of perpendicular? That is going to be h, right? And sum of all three perpendiculars is going to be what? That is going to be s, and that is equal to 0 plus 0 plus h. So that is equal to h itself, right? Okay. So what is the side of equilateral triangle? That is going to be 2s upon root 3. That we have already figured out. What is the area of equilateral triangle? That is root 3 by 4 times a square. Or I can say root 3 by 4 times a square means 2s upon root 3 into 2s upon root 3. Okay, so 4 cancels out, root 3 cancels out. So I'm going to get the answer as s square upon root 3. That is going to be direct answer. So you can solve this question like this. The second approach to solve this question is what you can say, that I am assuming that this point is centroid of equilateral triangle. So this height, let's say this side is A. So what is this height? This height is h, that is root 3 by 2 times A. And from this point to this line, what is the length of perpendicular? That is 1/3 of it, right? And what is the length of the perpendicular? That is 1/3. What is the length of the perpendicular? That is 1/3. So s comes out to be what? Into 3. So again you are going to get the same value. You are still going to get the same answer. So it won't make a difference if you are assuming that one point is vertex itself. So whenever you see these kind of questions, assume something that doesn't contradict any condition, and you are good to go. So you can solve this question by assuming that that point is centroid. You can also solve this question by assuming that this is a vertex. And remember, you need to remember all the formula, all the length of perpendiculars in equilateral triangle. And these kind of questions are going to be extremely easy if you do that. Now, let's move on to this one. Now it says that uh, a solid right circular cone of height 27. Okay. So this is a cone that has a height of 27, is cut into two pieces along with a parallel plane. Okay. So the total height is 27. It is cut at a height of 18 from the base. So from top, what should be the height? That is 9. Okay. Okay. And the difference in volume of two pieces is 225. Okay. So if I'm going to talk about this, so can I say this cone and this cone, these two cones, if you look at this, these two cones are similar cones, right? Okay. Now, in similar shapes, cubic ratio, that is ratio of volume, is always cube of linear ratios. So what are linear ratios? Linear ratio means ratio of radius, ratio of height, ratio of diameter. So in this cube and in the biggest cube, what is the ratio of height? That is 1 is to 3. 9 is to 27. So ratio of height is 1 by 3. So ratio of volume is cube of linear ratios, that is going to be 1 upon 27. Okay. So total, I am assuming that total volume is 27x. So this volume is x and this volume is going to be 26x. Because if total is 27, then this one is 1. That is what ratio says. Now the difference of the volume of two pieces. So this is 26, this is x. So difference comes out to be 25x. And that is equal to what? 225. So x comes out to be what? That is going to be 9. So what is the volume of the original cone? That we have already figured out. That is 27x. That comes out to be 27 into 9. That is equal to 243. So answer of this question is going to be option D. So this is how you can calculate this question if you understand how similarity works. So in similarity, what happens? In similarity, all the linear ratios are equal. In triangles, if I talk about, all the linear ratio means ratio of sides is equal, ratio of height is equal, ratio of perimeter is equal. The quadratic ratios are square of linear ratios. So what are quadratic ratio? Ratio of area, ratio of surface area, ratio of total area. So these are quadratic ratios. Quadratic ratios are a square of linear ratios. And cubic ratios means ratio of volume, that is always going to be cube of linear ratios. So whenever we talk about similarity, remember similarity is important. Fine. So and similarity is there everywhere in 2D shapes, 3D shapes, and linear shapes. It is there. Okay. Now let's look at this one. The length of each side of equilateral triangle is 3. Okay. D be the point. Okay. So this is, I think it is going to be trickier. Okay. So we have A, we have B, we have C. What does it say? It says that side is 3. D be a point on BC such that area of ADC is half that area of ABD. ADC is half the area of. So if this area is 1, then this area is 2. And this point is D. Okay. So what is the concept we are going to use here? We have two triangles. Okay, both the triangles have same height, and ratio of area is 1:2. So ratio of base will also be 1:2. This is not similarity. So in a triangle, when you draw a vertex and some point on a line, so the ratio of area is always equal to ratio of base. Always remember, because height is constant. Okay. And this length is given as what? 3. Okay. Then question is talking about what is the length of AD. Okay. So the ratio of base is 2:1, and total length itself is 3. So this is going to be 2. This is going to be 1. Okay. The ratio is 2:1, and total length is 3. So I can divide this 3 into ratio of 2:1. So 2 and 1. When I draw the perpendicular, when I'm going to draw the perpendicular, so total base is 3. So this base comes out to be 1.5. And remaining this comes out to be 0.5. And let's give this point name a point of E. Okay. What is the height AE? So height is going to be root 3 by 2 times, means 3 into A. So root 3 by 2 times A, we have just seen it, right? So we know the height, we know the base. Now I need to calculate AD. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem, that is AD square is 0.5 square. 0.5 I am going to take 1 by 2. 1 by 2 square is 1 by 4 plus 3 root 3 square is going to be 27 upon 2 square is 4. So that comes out to be 28 by 4. So that comes out to be what? 7. So AD square is 7. So AD comes out to be what? Root 7. So what is the length we are talking about? That's going to be option A. That is 7. Okay. And with this, we conclude this session. Thank you. Take care. And all the best for your exam.